stepping up my game. I'm a grooster, yes I am. With groove, I know I can. Read my master plan. I'm grooving, yes I am. I'm grooving. Oh, I'm grooving, yes I am. I'm grooving. I'm moving, yes I am. I'm moving. I'm moving, yes I am. I'm moving. I'm moving, yes I am. Groove Nation inspires me. The most loose and break free. I'm dancing to my dreams. Bursting at the seams. I'm feeling groove-alicious. Groove knows who I am. 'Cause now is my time to have a groove state of mind. I'm grooving. I'm grooving. I'm grooving, yes I am. I'm grooving. I'm grooving. I'm grooving, yes I am. I'm grooving. I'm moving, yes I am. I'm moving. I'm moving. I'm moving, yes I am.
Yay!
Hello.
I needed that song. I was ready for that song. I've been stuck in this office for a lot of hours, and I was like, all right, Groovezilla, bring it on. Let's go.
It is always nice to hear Groovezilla, isn't it?
Right? Just picks your spirits up. I love that. Love that. Love that. How are you, Donna Fox?
I'm doing great. How are you today?
I am terrific. I am excited. Talk about collaboration and diversity. And I'll tell you who's got the diversity thing down. This dude right here, Mahatma Gandhi. He's got some stuff to say about that. But, you know, I want to hear from Donna first. What do you think about diversity? What's diversity mean to you?
Oh, so diversity is where I live and breathe. Diversity makes me happy. I don't like the same. I don't like the sameness of anything. I like a wide variety of things in my life, a wide variety of people, cultures, places, foods, books, ideas, thoughts, concepts. So I am all about diversity.
So we're going to just call this diversity Donna kind of thing?
There you go.
The double D. All right, cool. Yep, presence, but wide variety of identities, backgrounds, perspectives, et cetera, et cetera. And, you know, can it be a thing that gets taken a little too far? Because I'm thinking there's a lot of polarization going on around this world of ours, maybe even in our own country particularly. And I wonder where that all plays in. What do you think? I don't know, man. Let's just start light, shall we?
Just jump in.
Oh, what do you think about
All right. Now, without becoming too political here, I think that the problem with the concept of diversity is that it got bootstrapped, it's the wrong word, but I don't know what word I'm looking for, by a political movement to create affirmative action that people disagree with. Diversity in itself, there's nothing, there are lots of good things about diversity. The problem is that the word has become inflammatory. So I really do want to separate, which is sort of why I started with not just people, but also foods and perspectives and ideas and cultures, because I think the idea of diversity and that we should strive for diversity in our life through people, because that's how we learn about different foods and cultures and ideas and things. So that's my nutshell non-political view of the word diversity. I think that, you know, it's a victim.
And I will say to groovesters that are based in the United States, one of the challenges that I think we face is that somehow we think we're, I don't want to use the term better, but maybe above the rest of the world in many ways. The greatest country, la, 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 all that commotion. And at the end of the day, we only represent about 3% of the global population. So that means there's 97% diverse than us.
I'll take what even one step further. The problem with most people in this country, or this prevailing idea in this country, is that most people believe that America is the best without ever having done any research on that topic and traveled and experienced life. That's the real problem. If you've been out there and experienced the world and still think America is the greatest place ever, fantastic. Like, I'm happy to live here, so I'm not going to argue with you. But it is really hard to form an opinion without all the information.
Yeah, and what about all the people that have traveled a little bit and they just think Spain is the best country, or they travel all over the place and they love Colombia, or they travel and then Australia or Japan or whatever. I mean, there's this gigantic world out there, and for us to cop an attitude that somehow we are whatever you want to put in there, I'm like, no, I don't think so.
Yeah,
I'm not buying it. I love this quote. Diversity is not about how we differ. Diversity is about embracing one's own uniqueness.
mm-hmm.
Right? Because I love to think of the world that way, that we're all amazingly diverse individuals, everyone with diverse experiences. Everybody has gone through stuff, whatever stuff is. People go through stuff. Human beings are messy. And in that diversity, I hope we can find, again, celebrating one's own uniqueness, embracing another's uniqueness, gives us that space to be more human and more amazing. So
I agree. I had this kind of, I often think in images, in actually more concepts than images, but I was thinking about how I would explain like the effects of diversity. And it's like, you go through life and you bump into people like a ping pong ball, and you bump into them and you go in a different direction as a result of having bumped into that person. And you bump into another person and you move in a different direction. If you don't bump into more people, you don't move in different directions.
I love this idea. How about this? Diversity is the one thing we all have in common.
I like that.
So we can celebrate this every day. I think it's great. Let's jump into a couple words from Mahatma Gandhi, and he has some pretty big stuff. Obviously, he is big into the concept of diversity. He says, "Our ability to reach unity in diversity will be the beauty and test of our celebration. Of our civilization." He said that in 1908. Our ability to reach unity and diversity will be the beauty and the test of our civilization. And then he goes on to talk about religion briefly and say, religions are different roads converging to the same point. What does it matter that we take different roads so long as we reach the same goal? You know, I love that concept that so many rivers lead to the ocean of truth, so to speak, and of others, talking with other spiritual leaders, I think pretty much anybody that's an aware, thinking spiritual person comes to that conclusion, that there's much more that is similar in the diversity that we find with our thought processes.
And it doesn't take much travel before you realize that different cities are very much the same, you know? And you suddenly learn that pretty much every city has, you know, a big park in it, and a square where people meet, and some sort of cultural center or building, and some kind of museum, or, you know, cities look remarkably the same around the world when you look for the similarities.
Yeah, that's right. Because they're all populated by humans, right?
And we are all far more similar than we are different, even.
Diversity, the art of thinking independently together, according to Malcolm Forbes. What do you think about that?
Independently together. Yeah, I kind of like it. It's cute. Yeah, it's cute. It's cute.
Yeah.
It feels like a cute saying, not so much
one
that's based in reality.
That's smart. No, he's not brilliant. Every now and then we can diss on him. It's all good.
That one doesn't resonate with me so much.
In 1942, Gandhi said, "For the last 20 years, we've tried to learn not to lose courage, even when we are in a hopeless minority and are laughed at. We have learned to hold on to our beliefs and the confidence that we are in the right. It behoves us to cultivate this courage of conviction, for it ennobles man and raises his moral stature." So what do you think of that idea that, okay, sometimes those that are in the minority that are sort of looked at as being too diverse or whatever, they got to fight for what they got?
I think that change happens somewhere. It starts with someone. There is one person that has an idea and thinks, oh, there's got to be a better way. And that's what makes us diverse. That's what makes us have different ways of life. And it has to start with someone. And often that person is very lonely.
Yeah, I think that sometimes being that pioneer is a tough space to come from, but yet that's where the change initiates.
Yes.
So the African proverbs, I know you've heard this one before. It says, how does it go? It's if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes you can make it far, not by yourself.
It's so true.
Embracing that diversity thing is huge.
I think that's the mantra all the CEOs in our space really need to learn, because we often start bootstrapping as a second job, a side gig, a side hustle, and we get used to doing it ourselves. And it is faster to do it yourself, but you can only do so much yourself.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. I'm in that boat right at the moment. I have just too much stuff on my plate. And I found myself, I wouldn't want to be so dramatic as to say collapsing, but hitting my bed at 9:30 at night going, I'm just wiped out. Day after day, many days in a row. And admittedly, a lot of good things are happening, but the way I feel is taking a toll. And
that's good every once in a while. When you haven't had that sort of high level of work for a while, and you do it and you go to bed at night and you're tired, it feels good until after the 5th or 6th day of it.
Yeah, I know. I didn't used to be the person who was like, man, I can't wait for the weekend. I don't have that general attitude ever, because the weekend means I'm just, catching up on other stuff and not that, oh, I need the weekend to chill out feeling. I don't like that feeling. I like the feeling of, thank God it's Monday. I'm psyched.
Yeah.
And when you go, like you said, 4th, 5th day, 5th day, 6th day in a row, you start to look for that, man, am I excited that tomorrow's Friday? Kind of feeling. So, yeah. All right. So I'm going to jump in here. I'm going to talk. I got my buddy Srikumar over here. He's got some very interesting stuff to say about resilience. And I just want to bring up this topic. He says, resilience is the ability of a material to return to its original form or position after being bent, compressed, or stretched. In common parlance, it is the ability to recover from adversity. And I'm thinking that, that when people are dissed for being different or whatever, they've got to find a way to come back to that same space. And there's I think I've talked about this. Have I talked to you about the Daruma doll?
Yes.
It's a fascinating concept, right? That there's this doll that is armless and legless with a really heavy weighted bottom, and you knock it down, it springs back up again. You do it 10 times, it springs back up again. It doesn't matter. It's already upright as far as you pull in your hand back to knock it over. It's jumping back up again already. It's like that Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down kind of a concept and I think that Gandhi was a lot about that. He was seeking that diversity. He was seeking that space. He says, it is a bad habit to say that another man's thought are bads and ours only are good, and that those holding different views from ours are the enemies. Justice needs to be tempered with generosity as much as generosity needs to be tempered with justice. That dude's pretty deep,
That is so good.
right?
Yeah.
And I don't know that most people do enough to seek out diversity. You love it. That's a thing for you.
It absolutely is. I go to a restaurant, I open the menu, and the first thing I do is look for something I've never eaten before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How did you cultivate that, or how did that come to you? Because I think most people look for the thing that they're used to.
I don't know. Probably my parents. Yeah. Likely my parents. They like to expose us to a lot of different ideas. So
Yeah. And did you grow up in a diverse culture?
not particularly. I grew up in a suburb in New Jersey, a suburb of Philadelphia. It was somewhat diverse, but a lot of waspy, European generation. So grew up Italian, Irish, Catholic. Not particularly known for the diversity.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I, on the other hand, had no choice because at 6 years old, my mother left and dumped me in a foreign country that spoke a different language. And then at 10 years old, took me to another different foreign country with a completely different culture that spoke another different language, and had a nanny who was taking care of us, who was from a very subset of that third country and spoke a totally different language than the other people. And so I grew up all over the place.
That's amazing.
I will say, when some people have asked me what was the biggest advantage or benefit to growing up overseas, is it the fact that you speak a lot of languages? And I've said to them, no, I don't think so at all. I think the biggest advantage to growing up overseas is to really understand that the borders of your own country, whatever country that is, are just the beginning of this gigantic world that is so diverse from what you're used to. It's like nothing like what you're used to.
Mm-hmm.
And, again, without getting political, that's to me, that's why protecting diverse systems of thought is just as important.
I agree. I also think it helps people think a little more globally about all sorts of things. Like when you realize that for half of the planet, it's not cold and snowy at Christmas time.
Yeah.
Yet we all have all of us that live in the Northern Hemisphere have this idea that Christmas means snow. Well, sure, because we've been marketed to and know that Christmas means snow, but Christmas happens in the summertime for so many people. And that's just one example of when I realized that, because no one had pointed it out to me. I didn't have that realization until I started traveling to the Southern Hemisphere. And I learned that Australia's summer is at a different time than our summer is, and why that's the case. But until I traveled and opened myself up to it, you hear all the time of people that go and travel and they're dressed for one weather and they get there and it's not the weather they expected because they haven't learned or become, increased their awareness. And I think that is what travel and exposure does. It helps you further increase that awareness to all sorts of things.
Yeah. I went skiing with my brother in South America one August. And we left from Atlanta, Georgia at 90 something degrees. I remember walking through the airport with my ski boots slung over my shoulder and a big jacket in my hands, and people looking at me like I was some kind of an alien from a foreign planet. And then landing, all-night flight, landing at 6 o'clock in the morning, walking outside to the parking lot where we had a rental car, and it was 9 degrees, 90 something to 9. When I woke up. Let me tell you, that's a weird shock to the system when suddenly you go to sleep on an airplane and wake up and it is 90 degrees colder than where you left.
No, thank you.
All of a sudden you realize it's really, really cold outside. This is a completely different world. I remember we left the ski resort and we drove back through the wine country of Chile, and there's like nobody there. I mean, normally you think of the wine country, it's packed with people and there's things. Nope, nobody, no grapes on the vines. They're all like whatever. So we pull into one of the most giant, I think it's the biggest wineries in Chile. And they have a wine tasting room that's open, and they'll take you on a little tour or whatever. There's like 6 people in there. Like, this is so bizarre. Of course, the good news was, Donna, they were very bored, so they were happy to serve us all kinds of stuff. How we got to our next destination, I'm not really sure. We'll leave that for another day.
I'm glad you're here.
Exactly right. Unbelievable. Maya Angelou says, we should all know that diversity makes for a rich tapestry, and we must understand that all the threads of the tapestry are equal in value, no matter their color.
I like that.
Yeah, it's just a nice reminder, right? We are all humans. That's our commonality. In fact, we may have different religions, we may have different languages, different colored skin, but we're all part of the human race. So I often look up weird stuff.
You too?
Yeah, I do. I'm now in a book of 5 rings.
Nice. Talking
about renewing. And I thought this was very interesting. To renew applies when we are fighting with, so this is, about the classic guide to strategy from a samurai warrior. Very famous Japanese book. It says, to renew applies when we're fighting with the enemy and an entangled spirit arises where there is no possible resolution. We must abandon our efforts, think of the situation in a fresh spirit, then win in the new rhythm. To renew when we are deadlocked means that without changing our circumstance, we change our spirit and win through a different technique. It is also necessary to renew, to consider how to renew also applies in large-scale strategy. That renew thing, how does that grab you?
I'm thinking about boxers and how the referee will pull boxers apart and send them to their corners when we realize that they're just sort of gridlocked. I'm thinking about this painting right here, wait, there, that I started yesterday, and then the light started to change, and I just went, I'm going to put this away and do it tomorrow. I'm thinking about the number of times where I've said, I'm going to start this tomorrow when I have fresh eyes. I think renewal is a really good way to tackle a problem.
I can tell you, I am sometimes in awe of how easy a task is in the morning.
Oh my gosh, yes.
That by the end of the day was seeming so difficult. Right? I'm like, what is wrong with me?
And not just because I'm a morning person, right? It's not just because you're a morning person. It's just because you're tapped.
Yeah, the mind is now fresh. I have renewed. I have come back, and now, bam, done. As opposed to, oh man, do I really have to do this now? End of the day, I don't feel like it. No.
I was learning about a concept yesterday called the 1 month day, where the theory is most people get about 40 hours worth of unfocused work done in a month. Even though they're working 40 hours a week, they're actually only getting 40 hours of work done, and it's unfocused work. If you can be focused in a day, you can get it done in like a 16-hour day. So that's the theory. I don't know how I believe that, but one of the things that they said about their process for the day is that it's surprising how much rest is built into the day. And very specific rest is built into the day. And that's because you need to walk away. You need to refocus your eyes and your brain on something else for a few minutes.
I have learned that so much that I will try to end calls if if I have back-to-back calls, which happens to me more often than I might like, I still try to end with enough time to walk upstairs, walk outside, and do at least one lap around the pool, get some vitamin D, and at least move around a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Just to get that, because you can get the longer you stay sedentary, it seems like the more sedentary you start to feel.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And at the same time, I love this. To bring oneself to a frame of mind and to the proper energy to accomplish things that require plain hard work continuously is the one big battle that everyone has. When this battle is won for all time, then everything is easy. Thomas Buckner, a smart dude. I'm a believer, man. I'm a believer that you can outwork a lot of people. The ability to have the ethic that gets in there and says, I'm just going to keep at this thing. I'm going to keep at it, and I'm not giving up, and I'm not backing off. And I know that ultimately I'll outwork most people. Now, it's not for everyone. I get it, but that's just my nature. So it kind of goes along with the concept that most great men and women are not perfectly rounded in their personalities, but are instead people whose one driving enthusiasm is so great, it makes their faults seem insignificant. There's a lot of that going on.
There's a lot of that going on.
You said that with a veiled voice there, Donna. What were you thinking? Come on now.
No, I have a lot going through my head right now. Just in this idea of like resilience and resistance, and the way in which your comments about outworking anyone. And I share that belief that if there's one goal that I have, is just to be here a year from now. Mm-hmm. That means be here, be present, be doing what I want to do, what I'm meant to be doing in life. Mm-hmm. Still focused, still in the game, still kicking. Mm-hmm. No, it's about resilience. It's about always getting up when you get knocked down, and having faith that you're on the right path. Which is the part that I am the most challenged with.
Dale Carnegie said, most of the important things of the world have been accomplished by people who have kept on trying when there seemed to be no help at all. Mm-hmm. Right? It's almost like there's this concept of bending the universe with your will. And I really mean that. It's like, no, I am not going to be defeated. There is a way. I'm just going to bend the universe to come meet me somewhere and have this shift happen. And I just don't think it happens all that often if people don't have some strong determination and desire to make it so.
My husband believes that I do that, bend the universe to feed my own will. I'm not sure that I do. And it makes him very unempathetic when it comes to me stressing about problems. Very unempathetic. His response is always, look, you always make the universe bend to your will anyway. Why are you treating this any differently?
Huh.
Interesting, right?
That is very interesting. I think my wife is unempathetic because she just gets sick of me working.
Well, that might be.
So Sophia Loren, actress, had a great quote. She said, getting ahead in a difficult profession, entrepreneurs, requires avid faith in yourself. You must be able to sustain yourself against staggering blows. There is no code of conduct to help beginners. That is why some people with mediocre talent but great inner drive go much further than people with vastly superior talent.
Yes.
I am a big believer in that.
I'm a huge believer in that as well.
It's like, yeah, man, okay. Give me somebody who's got the drive and the determination and the chutzpah and the whatever, and I'll choose that person 100 times over the lazy, talented one.
Preach, brother.
You know,
I'm right there with you.
I'm telling you.
We don't have very interesting discussions when we agree on everything.
Well, the bending your will thing,
Yeah.
I'm not sure if people really can get that without trying it first. Like, I have to do this. I'm going to get this done. I don't care that it's hard. I don't care that it's costing me. I don't care that it's taking longer than I wanted it to. I don't care that, oh, woe is me, la, la, la. Forget about it. No, this has just got to happen.
All things worth doing are hard. You know, all goals worth achieving are hard, and the time is going to pass anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. I sometimes I have many friends, and most of them, granted, are not entrepreneurs. The group that I'm talking about,
Mhm.
that are in, and actually most of them are not even friends, because I don't really have friends that are not entrepreneurs. For the most, I have mostly family members who are not entrepreneurs, who just can't wait to retire. They just can't wait to get to that age where they've done enough and they're that thing, and now I can retire. And I'm like, you can retire because they don't like what they're doing, because they've been at it for so long, because it's boring, because it's monotonous, because whatever. So I've tried to put myself in their shoes, and I frankly don't like that space. I just don't. I'm like, what am I going to do? Retire? What's that even mean? I didn't even get that. It's like, what am I supposed to? I guess there's a way of entering into another phase of life, but I would almost be like, wait a second. Are you planning for that? Are you planning for the transition? Are you planning for what you're going to do next? Are you setting up things that are going to involve you and your beingness or whatever? Or is it just that I just can't wait to get this life over with?
Yeah. Some people just want to stop getting up every morning and going to work. Other people want to be able to pursue things in free time that they don't have while they're working. And I think that those are two very strong and very different approaches to retirement. You know, I like the idea of not having to do anything. So from that regard, sure, I look forward to retirement when I don't have to do something. But I enjoy getting up and going to work every day. And I don't ever see that stopping. I see the everyday stopping. In fact, the everyday has stopped considerably over the years. I no longer work every single weekend like I used to in my 20s.
Yeah. I think I have to make some kind of mental shift to have that happen, because I'm kind of like, I don't like the idea of retired rigidly.
Yeah. Well, then don't retire. But
I don't think I can. Not
yeah.
Anyway.
I don't think it means what it also used to mean 20 years ago, 30 years ago. So I think we still have some remnants of retirement from our parents and our grandparents that don't really apply to us in this world any longer. We're living much longer than we used to. Those years past our working years are so much longer than they used to be, that it really is important to have something to do with that phase of your life. And I think that's why we're seeing people like me, who have been, putting aside the creative side of me for so long so that I can work in law and software. I'm looking forward to working in art, and not, which is, the perception is not as lucrative as certainly law or software, that I wouldn't have pursued it earlier. And I think that that's what's happening now, that people in our generation are realizing, I'm getting tired of this going to work every day thing. I can't wait to stop that. But the usual result, I can't wait to retire, is just, it just doesn't fit anymore. I don't think you're alone there. I just think it doesn't fit any longer. It is an antiquated concept.
I think that's a really great point. Because there is that remnants of your parents and that generation talking about, can't wait to my golden years, can't wait to this and this. And yet I see people around me, my own spouse, saying, I just don't want to work as hard anymore. Not that I don't want to work, I just don't want to work as hard. And, not having the same level of mental stamina myself, I find myself thinking, I kind of agree with that. Let's knock off and go to the gym. Let's knock off and go to yoga. Let's knock off and go for a walk. Let's knock off and do something, right? Around here, outside, it's pretty hot in the summertime. So let's go knock off and go jump in the pool because it's really hot.
That's it. I am craving more activity, and I don't want to sit at a desk for hours and hours and hours like I have in the past. That's really what, when I think I can't wait to retire, that's what I can't wait to not do. So why wait? Have more active rest now, more renewal periods throughout your day.
I think so. All right, let's talk about collaboration for a second. What's the first thing that comes up for you when you think about collaboration?
1 + 1 = 11. With whole Mark Victor Hansen thing, 1 + 1 = 11. He used to do that all the time. And it's just this idea that, like, sometimes it takes more than one brain. Sometimes it takes more than 2 eyes or 2 hands,
Well, we know what our man Napoleon would say. He said, coordination of knowledge and effort in a spirit of harmony between 2 or more people for the attainment of a definite purpose. The definition of the mastermind.
He was a little out there, that Mr. Hill. He actually believed a new entity was created. That was the mastermind. A little bit out there, but I can kind of get it. I can get why he thinks that, because I've experienced that group flow state before.
So listen to what he says about that. Here we go. The psychic phase of the mastermind principle is much more abstract, much more difficult to comprehend, because it has reference to the spiritual forces with which the human race as a whole is not well acquainted. You may catch a significant suggestion from this statement, quote, no 2 minds ever come together without thereby creating a third invisible, intangible force, which may be likened to a third mind. That's exactly what you were talking about, Donna Fox.
Yep.
I had that quote flag right here.
How funny.
Sticky right here. See, it's sticky. Yeah, for sure. And I think it says, when the minds of 2 people are coordinated in a spirit of harmony, the spiritual units of energy in each mind form an affinity, which constitutes the psychic phase of the mastermind. And by the way, for anybody listening, if it sounds a little strange compared to your copy of Think and Grow Rich, this one is the original. I go back to the original one, not the updated, not the abridged, none of that. This is the original. That's me. So I really like that. I like that concept of, because I understand, having studied dialogic engagement with my master's degree, I was like, wait a second. When Donna Fox and I get together, we're co-creating something in the moment that is different from either one of each of us.
Yes.
And it's always that creative process, that thing. So I don't think it's that big of a stretch to think of that as a third mind.
I don't either, truly. Because it almost feels like there is weird power that comes together from working with someone else. There is something magic that happens,
especially over time.
Yes,
because it becomes a thing. Why do certain people build successful partnerships? Because there's a collective way there, and you start to get to know how the other person's going to think and what they can do, and how you can be complemented, supplemented by what they know, and how you can even rely on that other person for the thing that you don't know. All of that, there's an immense power in that.
Yes. I had a business partner years ago that we were very similar. We could finish each other's sentences. We knew what we were thinking a lot. We could take a lot of action with a strong degree of confidence that we'll be okay with our partner. And we could not handle it when we disagreed with something about something. It completely threw us off if we had an argument, because we didn't have the tools, because we faced it so rarely that I'm having trouble even talking about how difficult it was for us to address not seeing the same way, because it's like we even lacked the words to be able to communicate our thought process to each other, because it was like our brain wasn't recognizing our brain. It felt that close. So that's the far end of that spectrum, is you don't learn how to deal through and navigate changes and differences of opinion and differences in thinking processes that you do get when you just learn to be a good complement to someone.
Yeah, I think so. I know that I've said this a number of times. I'm generally the idea person in any partnership that I go into. Not always, but most of the time. And what that generally means is that every bad idea that we try in our enterprise is usually my idea. But so is every good idea.
Right.
Right. And there's and I have plenty of people who are happy to remind me of all my bad ideas. And I live with one of them. And as I got into a place of finding that kind of like almost a badge of honor, like, hey, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
That's right.
And not everything I try is going to work. And I'm okay with the fact that it might not work. Okay. But let me if I'm going to do a partnership, let me do it with somebody who has different ideas and different ways of looking at things. Just agreeing and bouncing off that agreement. Okay. That might be fun and easy, but I'm not sure how far that gets you.
Yes. Agreed. That partnership, I mean, we were even born 2 days apart. So very, very similar thinking, very similar, and great friends, but just not great business partners, because we brought the same thing to the table.
Yeah. Napoleon goes on to say, there follows now another statement which will lead still nearer to an understanding of the psychic phase of the mastermind principle. When a group of individual brains are coordinated and function in harmony, the increased energy created through that alliance becomes available to every individual brain in the group. I really think that's true.
I do too.
You get in a mastermind session, a brainstorm session, if everybody's jamming, somebody comes up with something, you're like, yeah, got it. Yeah, got it. Oh, and yeah, got it. Oh, and yeah, got it. That, bam, whatever. That's one of the reasons I personally am at the moment so ridiculously busy, is because some concepts came together that are so big that require massive brain thought thinking thing. And okay, this piece has to be put together with this piece to work with this piece, kind of thing. You're like, okay, yeah, I can see how this is probably the last very large project of this particular professional career. Exciting, but it happened because of many people coming together and saying, but what if, oh, and if that, then this, and if this, then that, and if we could do this, and there's corroboration all over the place for each of the individual pieces, collectively, that's a beast.
By the way, sometimes that's exhausting.
It is exhausting.
Yeah.
Flat out is exhausting.
This time it's exhausting. But sometimes the last thing you need is someone to give you an idea. So I just want to talk about the other side of diversity and collaboration. There are just times when I want to shut out the world. Let me just do what I know that I need to do now. I'm not open, ready, or receptive to any other ideas or any other, like, ideas are a burden. I have people send me images. Oh, this would be great to paint. This would be great to paint. I don't need anyone giving me an image of something that would be great to paint. I do not lack for ideas. Like, but if I'm faced with a challenge or a problem and I can't move forward, that is the most valuable time to tap into that mastermind and engage and plug into that collective flow state. Not when you already have enough to do.
What about this concept? Collaboration is the new competition.
Sure.
I think that's very real. I think that we've reached a phase where collaboration, doing stuff on your own is very, very difficult. There's so many moving pieces. I think collaboration does kind of become a form of the new competition. Whoever's better at it is going to go further than those who are not.
Stronger teams. Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, the nice thing about teamwork is you always have somebody on your side, right?
That's right.
Right. So here's in this book, The Partnership Economy, David Giovanni writes, there are several reasons for partnership success, and one of the most significant is trust. Partnerships are built on trust, inspire trust, and succeed because of trust. He then goes on to do something that I think is always very smart. What do I mean by trust? According to the Oxford Dictionary, trust is the, quote, firm belief in the reliability, truth, ability, or strength of someone or something. Trust is so fundamental to human survival and success that the human brain has evolved to continually detect trust and distrust in the people, situations, and environments around us. The global communications firm Edelman has studied trust for more than 20 years and found that trust is, quote, the ultimate currency in the relationships that all institutions, companies and brands, governments, non-governmental organizations, and media build with their stakeholders. For a business, especially, lasting trust is the strongest insurance against competitive disruption, the antidote to consumer indifference, and the best path to continued growth. Without trust, credibility is lost and reputation can be threatened. I think that's cornerstone of collaboration. Where is that trust? Because I don't want to collaborate with people I don't trust. I just don't. Super cool thing happened this morning. I woke up, grabbed, cup of coffee, coming downstairs, look at my phone, and I see something from my teammate, or one of our team members who's an SEO expert, saying, hey, you're not going to believe what happened last night. Somebody, to use an easy term for everybody to understand, hacked the Google business profile of one of our dentists.
Whew.
Really potentially a very bad situation. Except that he got a notice on his phone at 2:30 in the morning, got out of bed, went and figured out how they did it, which I'm not going to share with anybody because I don't want anybody to be so stupid as to try to do this, and reversed it before the business even opened this morning. So he's an expert at this stuff. So we caught something 2:30 a.m. By 9 o'clock when the business opened, it was already handled.
That's right? Incredible.
It's incredible and very rare.
Yes.
And I was so excited that I literally dropped everything I was doing this morning to share exactly what he did with every one of our other businesses to show them what white glove treatment and VIP service looks like.
Yes.
Because I was like, dude, you just rocked. Do you realize how cool what you just did is? Do you realize that most people, it could have gone months without even being noticed, and their business would have been toast in terms of SEO, dead, 100% dead. I was like,
it could also have been fixed without being celebrated. So congratulations to you for celebrating that level of service too.
All over the place. I was like, man, we not only is it important to do this because you did a great job, it's economically intelligent to show your client that you got their back and you're going to take care of them.
Yep. And
they do get the white glove treatment that they pay for. And it's worth it. I loved it. It was awesome. So I love this. This is a quote that I got from Mike Schmoker, who's a teacher. He says, collaboration allows teachers to capture each other's fund of collective intelligence. I like that.
Capture each other's fund of collective intelligence.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of groovy. And Oliver Wendell Holmes said something that I thought was very cool about collaboration. He said, many ideas grow better when transplanted into another mind other than the one where they sprang up. That sounds like the mastermind concept quite a bit.
That's good. Yeah. I don't like to work alone. I prefer collaboration. I find that working alone is kind of boring, and life is much more fun when you do it with others.
Yeah, I like both. I sometimes need that alone time. I just got to get a bunch of stuff done, and I look at this, which I have digitally also, and it's just so full. It's just ridiculous. I'm like, man, do I have a space to eat lunch? Not today. Okay, cool. Here we go. Chicken bone broth yet again. I'm developing my favorite flavors, by the way. And this kind of, I like this one better than that one. I don't know if that's wrong or weird. I have a chicken bone broth thing going on.
From different sources or homemade?
No, it's too complicated to make it at home. I just get the organic stuff and this brand, that brand. Oh, this one is a little richer. And whenever we do have it from home, because Kathy makes it, it is way better. There's no doubt. Yeah. But chicken bone broth is my go-to when I don't have time for lunch. It's just give me a mug. I'm good. All right, Donna. Final thoughts as we're wrapping this up. Diversity, collaboration. What are you thinking? What else you got?
I forget who said this, but you could probably know or tell me. You can't solve the problem that got you here with the same thinking that got you here. Something along those lines.
Yeah, I think it sounds like I think Einstein.
Yeah, maybe.
Somebody I've heard that for sure. Yeah.
Yes. And I think that is the cornerstone of why collaboration is so important, because we got ourselves into all of our problems.
Yes.
We did it.
We did.
We can get it out. We can get out of it always, but it's a lot faster if you get some advice and some help from a trusted friend, a good advisor, someone a little bit smarter than you, or maybe walked through that minefield just before you did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Henry Ford says, coming together is a beginning, staying together is progress, and working together is success.
I love that.
I love that too.
I'm happy to work with you, Ridgely.
I'm happy to work with you, Donna Fox. All right. Take us on out of here, Groovezilla. We will be back next month with another Groove Growth Fantastic Dialogue. I so appreciate all of you. Have a great rest of your day, week, month.